Lots to do. It's like a fire hose of news and information coming in. I was not here last Friday, nor was I here yesterday, obviously, because of the Labor Day holiday. Many of you had the day off as well. For those of you who did, hope you enjoyed it with family and friends. For those of you who did not, thank you. Because for those of you that work on these holidays, we appreciate you. At least I certainly do, because I know that you make our holidays special, whether you're firefighters, EMTs, first responders, generally speaking, police officers and whatnot, doctors, nurses, convenience store workers and, restaurateurs, all of those folks. Thank you to Weekend Warriors and thank you to those that work on the holidays. I was off last Friday, so while we're thanking people, thank you to Cameron Smith for filling in for me on Friday. I might have lied to you regarding time off, because I said last Thursday that it was my last day off before the election, and I think there's one more Friday that I have to be off for something between now and November. But if it's just that one day, I promise you it's just that one day.
That's what you said last time, and that turned out to be a lie.
Yeah, 2666 is already after me saying Matt Murphy is lazy. I mean, that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm going to have to be off a day.
Well, that is true. I mean, it's not.
I mean, I'm lazy generally. I can be lazy while I'm working, I mean, this is not work, by the way. This is a joy. It's a delight to be with you for 3 hours on a daily basis. I wish it was more. I wish it was 4 or 5. I'm the only one that wishes that, but I wish it were even more time because it seems that we leave something on the table on a daily basis. We'll try to cover as much as we possibly can today. Well, we'll take your telephone calls, obviously, at 615-737-9986. I absolutely love them. Love turning a monologue into a dialogue. Love communicating with you, regardless of where you are on politics or pop culture, wherever you are on any matter of discussion. I appreciate the conversation, even if I start yelling and screaming at you and eventually hang up on you. One way or the other, it's episode 643 of our proceedings today. More on that in a moment. It is also Locks for Trump Day 185 for 185 full days. Yes, more than a half of a calendar year. I've been growing out my hair for the man. I said that I would not cut it until we had a new president-elect before I even knew that was a definitive reality come November 6th, that we would have a president-elect once all the votes are counted and, once all the cheating has gone down in some of the battleground states. More on that coming up in just a moment. But it is Locks for Trump Day 185. So you can see my glorious locks on Super Talk TV. You can also run over there because I saw Bell earlier today. We were gathering for our daily pre-show meeting. We meet for hours on end about the show before we broadcast it. And the first thing Bell said to me is, "Whoa, my goodness, you got some sun, didn't you?" And I'm like, "What?" I mean, I was outside. So.
You got some cancer.
And I said, "Is everything good?" "I don't know about that. That nose looks iffy." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I guess I got a little sun on the nose, I guess.
You got sun everywhere, baby. Your cheeks are red, too.
Well, thank you.
And it ain't just for the drinking.
Well, there was some of that going on during the birthday celebration, but... yes, I did get some sun. You can see whether or not it's cancer for yourself by going to Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. It's up and running and available for you, and we would appreciate you liking and subscribing or subscribing and liking when you go over to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and we thank you for it. You can see my ugly face do this radio show for a full 3 hours. By going over there and doing that. And also, if you like and or subscribe to us, it'll give you a notification as to when we're coming on to remind you that it's time to listen to The Matt Murphy Show or watch The Matt Murphy Show, as the case may be. You can also check out the title of the episode. Now, I don't title these things, and I don't know what the titles are until Bell K tells me. And episode 643, Bell, is entitled?
I wrote a good title Saturday, but I forgot it. So you get this, The Matt Murphy Show. That's all completely true. I had a great title I came up with Saturday night. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. And I forgot it.
You forgot about it? You didn't write it down?
I didn't write it down.
You got to write it down.
I sat there in bed and I thought, I don't need to write that down. I remember it.
Bell participates on the television side of things from an audio perspective, but not from a video perspective. That's why we call him Headless Bell. It has something to do with warrants in a variety of different states. So you will not see Bell as he speaks, but you will hear him. You will see and hear from Jay Harper later on today as Jay delivers headlines for us throughout the course of the afternoon, and we appreciate him as well. And most importantly, we appreciate all of you deciding to join us. First, a point of personal privilege, and then we'll move on to the news of the day. It was my birthday Sunday. I turned 51. I want to thank each and every one of you. So many of you reached out to me via Twitter, Facebook, social media platforms, email, just in a variety of different ways, even text message for many of you. And you said happy birthday to me, and God bless you, every single one of you. It was wonderful. I had a great time. Thank you. It was low key. I had a kind of a blowout last year for my 50th, and so this year was a little bit low key, but it was wonderful, and I appreciate all of you. The best part was going through the very kind messages that you send. One of the very few ways that I appreciate social media, because generally speaking, I think it's a cesspool full of awful people saying awful things, but one of the few ways that I would say social media does make us better people. It helps me. It helps remind me when people are having special days like anniversaries or birthdays or celebrations of some sort. And I try to make it a point to reach out to my family, my friends, my circle, and celebrate with them. And many of you did the same with me. And it's very, very sweet. It's very kind. I heard from people that I did not anticipate hearing from. And I thank you, each and every one of you. God bless you, and I love you, and I appreciate you. All right, on to important things. We had a manifesto drop today, as apparently Michael Patrick Leahy has had enough of it. I'm sorry, there's been an error. What? Is the Tennessee Star offline? Would you go check the Tennessee Star website and see if that's just me? I think they pulled the Tennessee Star offline. Is that true?
Yeah, so I'm getting invalid page.
Error establishing a database connection. Did they pull Michael Patrick Leahy offline?
Yeah, Matt, I'm getting the same error in here as well.
Okay, I know.
Well, that story just changed.
Yeah, it did. Now, I know that Brian has him. Brian Wilson was in our text feed. We have a host text feed. Brian Wilson was in our text feed saying that he had Michael Patrick on at 4:05 this afternoon. I might have to, and I'm respectful of that. We could have him. We're going to have him on at some point, obviously, to talk about this. But I'm respectful of the fact Brian's got him scheduled, and so we anticipate that conversation at 4:05 this afternoon. And it's just a host courtesy that once he's established that, I'm not going to try to jump in there and have him on before Brian. That said, I was in communication with Michael Leahy earlier today. He is the editor-in-chief and the CEO of the Tennessee Star, and he was telling me that this was about to, it was actually earlier the weekend. He was telling me that it was about to drop. And so we may need to communicate with him.
Okay, it's back up.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
And it might be, frankly, it might be that there's so much traffic on it. That could be the case. I wanted to establish with him whether or not someone tried to pull him off air or...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're probably right. He's probably getting bombarded.
It's just so much traffic. Yeah, I would expect that what's happening. Jeff says, I've got it downloaded. I mean, I already have the manifesto. I have it in front of me right now. I have it on my laptop, and I have it on the studio computer here. So many of you are saying some of you can get to the Tennessee Star webpage, some of you cannot. It is probably experiencing more traffic than ever, in as much as Michael Patrick Leahy, he received access to the full journal. It's not really a manifesto, and I'm going to stop calling it a manifesto because it's not. It is the journal of a crazy person who decided that she was gender dysphoric. I don't know that she was officially diagnosed as the same, but sadly, this is a testimony more to our medical community nowadays than anything, at least as far as I have read it, in as much as this person is clearly crazy. The extent of her crazy is obvious. One doesn't want to be blind to the idea that it might not have been as obvious to medical or mental health professionals that were diagnosing her, but it seems hard to believe that they did not see some of this in their diagnoses. And one wonders how her verbalization that she was gender dysphoric affected their diagnosis. I don't know. I'm not going to be one of those guys that runs off half-cocked before I read the entire thing, but it is now being made available. Now, Michael Patrick Leahy probably has put himself in a fair amount of legal peril because there are plenty of individuals that did not want you to see this for their own reasons. Here's my initial takeaway after scanning the document. It's 90 pages thereabouts of rantings and ramblings, most of which happened over the course of the 3 months leading up to the Covenant School shooting that, as we well know, led to the death of 6 individuals plus the shooter, who was shot and killed by the Metro Nashville Police Department as they responded to the scene. Per her design, by the way. Obviously, there were missed opportunities to see with clarity the mental instability, the mental insanity of this individual that had decided that because of her personal pain, however that was manifesting itself, that she was going to lash out at others and kill people. What I have not seen, a lot of individuals tried to speculate that there was some sort of backstory going on between her and the Covenant School itself. I haven't seen any of that. I have not read every page in full, but I've not seen anything suggesting that she targeted the Covenant School for any reason other than she had gone to school there and she knew that there would be soft targets and she understood the layout of the property. Other than that, we've not seen the spiral notebook that goes into detail about how she planned on carrying out the deal. But we now have seen this in its totality. For whatever reason, the judge in the case had decided that she was not going to allow us to see this, and Michael Patrick Leahy, the editor-in-chief and owner of the Tennessee Star, has now released the 90 pages of writings left by the Covenant School shooter. I now have his website pulled up, so you can do that. They are labeling it the Covenant Killers 2023 Journal, rightly so. It is not a quote-unquote manifesto in as much as it is the rantings and ravings of a person. It reminded me a little bit of some of the writings that we saw from the Columbine killers. Before much of that was scrubbed from the internet, you could find some of the journals and the notes and the planning left behind by Smith and Klebold. And it reminded me a little bit of that in as much it was a mix of, as many journals happen to be, it's a mix of writings and rantings and then, doodling and, just general musings of an individual who's obviously mentally unstable.
Did you download a hard copy?
I did.
Oh, okay. I was going to do that for you if you hadn't, but I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, no. I mean, I haven't printed it.
I'll print one then. Yeah,
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I have it, and it's all watermarked. There's a lot. There's a lot in here that, once again, apparently she had multiple journals. For the most part, this deals with January. Well, I guess it starts, let's see, just moving up to the beginning. The journal, the first date that you have on the journal, date specific, let's say I feel pain, is 1/16, I believe, which appears on page 8 or 9 of the journal. So it really is primarily from January, February, and March of 2023, leading up to the slaughter of 6 people and her eventual death. So what do we make of this? One, the public has a right to know these things. I don't know how much we learn from it, except that we learned that there were obvious clues. Now, many of us will play hindsight quarterback on that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but recognize that vision in hindsight is oftentimes far more clear than vision is at the time that you're examining something. That isn't to say that the medical professionals, the mental health professionals that were examining this woman, I hesitate. I don't bring up her name. I mention it from time to time by happenstance, but for the most part, I try not to mention the name of individuals that would perpetrate these types of crimes because I don't want to give them any sort of publicity that they might have desired in life. That's just a long-standing policy of mine. It's not a hard and fast rule. I'm not against saying their names, but I just try not to do it. There are a lot of questions and remain a lot of questions about what, if anything, the mental health community that had been a part of her life for so long should have seen in foresight with regard to her ability to carry out such an atrocity. Here's what I would tell you. This person demonstrates everything that we would call crazy. This person demonstrates in this journal, as much as I have read it, and I've not read the full 90 pages, but as much as I have seen of it, it demonstrates a hatred for other human beings. It demonstrates a hatred of one's self. It indicates a desire to die because of a sadness and a depression and an anger that will not subside. And it demonstrates a desire to lash out at other people in a way that ought to be institution worthy. I don't know that it is in modern society. I mean, obviously you would want to get this person a certain amount of help. And in reading the manifesto, you see that clearly. I guess what I'm telling you is I don't know what we're learning from any of this. I'm not suggesting that it should not be available to you. I believe that it should be. But if you make the time to examine this, I don't know that you'll learn anything that you don't already know. We know that she had hatred. We know that she was evil. We know that she was infected with mental insanity. We know that she believed that she was born wrong, that she should have been born a man. We know that she was mollycoddled, sadly, by the medical community in this regard. We know that her mental instability and mental insanity extended far beyond whatever gender dysphoria she thought she had. We know that the mainstream media wants to tamp down any discussion about this because they don't want to suggest that individuals who consider themselves, quote unquote, transgender could be mentally unstable when obviously they can. And we saw it with our own eyes, March of 2023. Some would suggest, and I am among them, that one of the reasons that we have had this information, none of which invalidates the investigation, none of which endangers the public. None of this endangers the public. It is sad to witness. It is sad to read because you're dealing with someone who was completely mentally insane and had been infected with evil and no opportunity that presented itself to reach that person or to provide that person some level of assistance. Those opportunities were missed, sad to say. So it is downloadable on the Tennessee Star website. We'll talk about the possible legal ramifications of all of this coming up in a moment. And obviously, as I mentioned, Brian Wilson's got Michael Patrick Leahy on at 4:05 this afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 24 after the hour, just getting started. Attention, gentlemen, have you noticed a lack of energy, motivation, or drive in your daily life? Do you feel sluggish or run down? Do you have a low libido? These are all tips that you can use to indicate that perhaps you have low T. And if that's the case, it can be easily diagnosed with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And if that's the case, they have a prescription for success to get you back into life, back to an energetic lifestyle where you go to the gym, where you have better mental clarity, where you have improved sleep patterns. You may even notice that your bedroom activities aren't so deficient anymore either. I mean, I'm not here to get into your business. I'm just here to help. Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help as well. They specialize in men's health. They've been reinventing men's health care since 2014, and now they can assist you. 2 locations to serve you. One is in Cool Springs, and the other right in Midtown. Give them a call and schedule that appointment today at 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
The commute into downtown Nashville this morning after the holiday weekend, more unpleasant than usual, if you can believe that. And people who tried to take advantage of a glitch at a major bank, well, they're learning the hard way. There's no such thing as free money. We'll have those stories at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm smiling because I know this story, and you want to wait around for it. It is absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Jay Harper, over in the newsroom. Matt Murphy in the studio. Thank you for indulging us a day off on Labor Day. I was also off this past Friday in advance of my 51st birthday, and I appreciate all of the fine and happy birthday wishes. So y'all enjoying the I don't know. I'm happy to have a conversation about the Covenant School Journal, the Covenant School Killer Journal. I don't know what else to say about it. It is a journal chock full of insanity. It was missed by the medical community. We need to know how much and what sort of drugs were being prescribed to this person and why. I think there needs to be a certain level of accountability. As a matter of fact, I think we need far more accountability in broad terms in the medical industry. Oftentimes, the medical industry hides behind patient confidentiality as a way to avoid a certain level of comeuppance when they do things to perhaps exacerbate a situation and create a level of harm that did not previously exist because of prescription drugs, because of psychotropic drugs. What I've long said about this, generally speaking, is we're not allowed to see the connective tissue between shooters around the United States of America, especially younger generational shooters, as to what drugs they're on, what drugs they're not on. Is there a connective tissue between the drugs that they're taking? Most of that is, sadly, through toxicology reports at the time of death or through voluntary reporting amongst the family members of the individuals involved. Why are we not seeing more full-throated investigations attempting to connect the tissue between the drugs taken, psychotropic or otherwise, the pharmaceutical industry, the prescriptions of those drugs, and what that means in terms of the mindset of the individual willing to commit these types of heinous, evil attacks? That's what I have to say about it. Otherwise, finally, it's available to the general public for consumption. It's 12:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It's 12:31. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Mostly sunny now. We're up to 80 degrees. A complete weather forecast is coming up. Well, if you tried to get into downtown this morning, you know it was a major headache for Nashville commuters this morning after a rollover crash closed I-24 and I-40 near downtown. The crash happened on the Silliman Evans Bridge near mile marker 210. Metro Police reporting that 32-year-old Shondarius Cook was driving a Toyota Camry eastbound at excessive speed on I-40 at the I-24 split. Police say Cook came up on another car, tried to change lanes, but he was speeding and lost control of his car. The Camry crashing through a metal guardrail, flipping upside down on the left shoulder of I-40 West. After the crash, Cook took off, started running across all four lanes of the interstate before he jumped from the bridge over Hermitage Avenue onto the sidewalk below. Police caught Cook, then took him to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. He has life-threatening injuries. Metro Police say one of the reasons he ran, more than likely, was the fact that Cook has 3 outstanding warrants for 2 probation violations and failure to appear. An online trend stemming from a glitch at a major bank could land a lot of folks in some hot water. Chase Bank says it's beginning to crack down on those who tried to get free money by writing a fraudulent check and depositing it. What's that all about? Well, ABC's Alexis Christoforous, she tells us the story.
You were able to write yourself a check, in essence, for whatever amount you wanted, deposit it, and then the money was almost immediately, those funds were almost immediately available to you. It was not taking the usual 2 to 3 business days for the bank to verify the check and then to make those funds available. When a few people found out this was possible, they took to social media. It went viral, and I think it just highlights the vulnerabilities our financial system is under now in a day and age where everything's digital and misinformation can spread like wildfire.
Well, Chase has said that they're pulling that money back out of these accounts, and they probably will freeze the accounts as well. This is still somewhat of a developing story. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. I am so thankful to be associated in any way with a wonderful organization like the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. And I am thankful that these guys are celebrating 10 full years of helping and supporting our veterans and heroes reintegrate from service into civilian life. And it's not as easy as one would think. They're not only celebrating at the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project 10 years, but they're also asking everyone to never forget to always remember 9/11 and those loved ones that we lost. And really, it affected, obviously, directly those that lost their lives, those family members, the entirety of the United States of America. But it continues to affect us today because it led to conflicts, and so many of our American men and women engaged in those conflicts. And then they come back after many years of service, after multiple deployments. And the journey home can be a complex process with issues involving physical and mental disability, education, employment, just a few of the many issues that returning vets and their families face. Please make a difference by considering giving to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. I so would appreciate it. Go to the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org today. That's the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org to donate and make a real difference. We would appreciate you doing so. It's the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org. You know, I want to rely on the medical community here in our listening audience because I think it's so important. I'm dissecting some of this that the Tennessee Star dropped, and we're talking about it during the Libertarian Lunchtime Hour of the Matt Murphy Show this Tuesday, September 3, 2024. Thank you for being around with us, whether you're listening on 99.7 FM, perhaps you're streaming us online, anywhere that music or information or news is streamed or a podcast. We're there, and if we're not, let us know, and we'll get there. Supertalk 99.7 WTN, that's how you find us. And then, of course, there's Supertalk TV for you masochists in the audience that want to see my ugly face. You may do so by running over to Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and you can find us right there. So I lean on the medical community for this reason. A lot of us are looking for simple answers in this manifest. I called it that again. Journal, and there aren't any. It is a series of rantings and ramblings by a crazy person. I don't want to inundate you with too much, but I mean, I got it right here. I hesitate to read any of it because I don't want to give it any sort of promotion, but I'll just give you an example of what you're talking about, what we're talking about here. And this goes on and on and on again. I mean, it goes on and on with titles like I Feel Pain, My Imaginary Penis. There are several notes or letters written to individuals in this person's life. I mean, I read it, and there's a lot of I'm going to die, I want to die, I feel pain, I want to die, I'm going to die. There's a lot of that. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to read any of it. If you want to consume it, you may do so. I could, but I'm not going to be that guy. There's a lot of pain and mental illness in this manifesto, but there's nothing connecting specifically pieces between the shooter and the school, except that the shooter went to the school. The shooter had awareness of the school, had awareness of the layout. We heard rumors about some sort of connective tissue between past activities at the school and this person. There's none of that in this book, and none of it that I have seen. And I've not read every single page and every single word. I've read enough to know that what we're dealing with is trying to make sense of the senseless. And I say this all the time, and I want to reiterate it. Whenever we see incidences like this, reasonable people that don't suffer mental instability, mental insanity, or just pure evil, they try to make sense of the senseless. It is a foolish errand because you're never going to make sense of the senseless by definition. It is by definition senseless that a person would be willing to do this. Now, what we can do is attempt to put pieces together with regard to who knew what and when, and whether or not she was drugged, whether or not she was on psychotropic drugs, how that might have had an impact on her outlook, how it might have had an impact on her going through with some of this, whether there's any connective tissue between this individual and other individuals that we know were going through mental episodes or mental instability, and whether or not the drugs they were on contributed to that mental instability. That's the subject that no one seems to want to have. And it's, in an absence of information, I speculate that it is the only reasonable excuse as to why members of the medical community don't want to explore this more. Are you so afraid of what you might find? Where are the studies regarding mental instability, mental insanity, psychotropic drugs? Where are the studies involving young people who are diagnosed with bipolar disorder or gender dysphoria or any number of other things, ADHD or ADD? I'm not suggesting any of these things would lead to someone killing other people, but I'm also suggesting that maybe we should look into whether or not that's the case. I don't know the answer to any of this. What I am fascinated by is that there are so few people asking these questions. Why are there so few people asking these questions? What are we afraid of finding out? Are we afraid of finding out that while some of these drugs might serve a positive purpose, that there's far more negative involved in introducing those drugs to the general population than we could have possibly foreseen at the time that they were introduced? Is that such an evil speculation to make? That maybe there are far worse things that come out of these drugs than the positives that are introduced in certain lives? And that maybe there's a harder road to take with regard to solving your issues? Maybe we should suggest to our younger generations that the full gambit of emotion is perfectly acceptable, and when you can't handle certain aspects of those emotions, that you should seek mental help and not a pill. 2637 says, would a mental or medical professional come on the show and speak at a 10,000-foot level on this case. I would certainly hope so. We'll reach out. In the meantime, it is what it is. For those who wish to consume it, it is available for consumption. Otherwise, that's what I have to say about it. Mental health diagnosis is incredibly difficult. That's not all I have to say about it. I have one more thing to say about it. And it's going to piss a lot of people off, and that's fine. I'm not afraid of that. When we determined that the shooter at the Covenant School had been under mental health evaluation for a number of years, it was automatically assumed that that mental health professional had an obligation and a duty to inform individuals that they planned on committing acts of violence against other people. And it is true that if a person states that in a mental health setting, that it is an obligation on the part of that mental health professional that they provide that information to the appropriate authorities. It is not clear whether or not that happened in this case, specifically in this case. We've been told that the psychologist and psychiatrist involved in this case should have been able to put enough together to report. There is a gray area as to whether or not any sort of reporting happened, but obviously it was not to the point that the parents or anyone surrounding the assailant attempted to, or I won't even say attempted because that's gray too. It's obvious that we did not see this person involuntarily incarcerated. When we have difficult discussions about Audrey Hale, and I'll use her name once, Audrey Hale's ability to access guns and her ability to access items that could do harm to other people. When you consider that the psychiatrist or the psychologist or the medical health professional should have done more, what more did you want them to do? Absent involuntary incarceration, which is a very difficult hurdle in 2024 to overcome, the only other thing that could have put a barrier between her and guns or her and instruments that would have done harm to others would have been what are typically defined as red flag laws. I'm against red flag laws because they do not work. What I am in favor of is a better ability when we see a clear mental insanity in front of us, a better ability to put that individual in a place where they can get help and not be a harm to other people. And it is far more difficult than I think most of us want to believe to do that. It's possible, but if we determined that Headless Bell was mentally insane, or if people around him believed that he might be a harm to himself or to others, the process by which you work the system in order to get that person separated from the general population is impossibly complex. And the standard by which you have to go through, it is so easy to say, why didn't you lock this person up? Look at her writings. No one saw these writings until afterwards. I'm not defending the system. I'm not defending the mental health professionals. I'm not defending anything. I'm just telling you the way that it is. And the way that it is that it is extremely difficult to incarcerate someone because of mental insanity. It's far more difficult than you would think. And I think it's easy for us to Monday morning quarterback and ask, my goodness gracious, why wasn't this person put in an institution? We don't really have any institutions anymore. You have psych wards. just food for thought as we dissect this document dump by the Tennessee Star, in which they have put out all 90 pages of the journal that Michael Patrick Leahy had access to. It's 12:50. More on this in a moment. Plus, we'll give you an update on the presidential contest. It's on, baby. Y'all enjoying this so far? I mean, it is on. I mean, it's after Labor Day. Now's the time where people that don't pay attention are paying attention. And we'll get you caught up in the 1 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the one and only Glock Store. Now, we've been telling you that the Glock Store is your place to go and have a good party, and you're invited to go over to glockstore.com to find out more. I mean, it is the place to party. It is the place to shoot. It is the place to compete. They've got it all at the Glock Store, and right now you can check it out for yourself by heading over to glockstore.com. Now, I go over there and shoot quite a bit. And I haven't been, actually, I take it back. I haven't been in a couple of months. I need to get back over there. But let me tell you something. If you give a call to 615-682-6565, that's 615-682-6565, you can get to the Glock Store and you can talk to someone right there at the store about the nature of your party, exactly when and how and what and everything else, because they've got a VIP room. They've got the range. They've got everything available to you that you normally see at the Glock Store for your own individual event. And all you have to do is go to that phone number, pick up the phone and dial 615-682-6565 for more information. And besides that, I mean, they've got the most accessories that you can imagine. They've got all of the clothing items for concealed carry. And they, of course, have short guns, long guns. They've got the handguns. They've got the Glocks. I mean, when you call yourself Glock Store, you know it. Glockstore.com for more information, or shoot270.com, or give a call to 615-682-6565. It's the one and only Glock Store.
The Harris Walls campaign back on the bus. They're in a red state, but they're thinking they may be able to turn it blue. And a car manufacturer having to make some tough decisions. That's all coming up at 1 p.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Jay Harper. Finishing up the Libertarian lunchtime hour, making our way to the 1 o'clock hour. We'll turn our attention to the presidential contest at that time. Right now, it's Maria's turn in the borough. Hello, Maria. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. What's on your mind?
Oh, just with the topic of bipolar, I have it, and my son has it, and we figured out after 2 horrible years with me that what it was. Got a psychiatrist, was diagnosed, and have been good for 14 years. So the biggest question is not that you have it, but are you being treated, and for how long? Now, my son, the younger people, it's a trend where they don't want to have it, so they don't take their medicine, as if then they won't have it. And he has taken 9 years to figure it out and get better. He has a wife and a family now, and he was always really aggressive when he went into an episode. And for me, it was 6 months on, 6 months off, the up, the down. Both were really strong. But, once you get the medicine, you're good to go. It's just getting people to take the medicine.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you, and I don't want anyone to misconstrue. I was speaking generally about bipolar. I don't know if that had anything specific to do with Audrey Hale or not, so I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. And I'm not telling anybody to not or take medicine. You need to consult your trusted physician in that regard. It's Jay Harper's turn. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back in a moment.
Good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Mostly sunny, 81 degrees. The weather forecast is coming up. The Harris Walls campaign doing a bus tour across Florida this week. They started in Palm Beach today. This after former President Trump, despite signaling a softer approach to abortion bans lately, has also said that he would vote no on a ballot measure in Florida, which would uphold that state's strict 6 weeks abortion ban. ABC's Jay O'Brien says Democrats think their stance on reproductive rights could be a winning issue for them in Florida.
Florida used to be a purple state. It used to be a swing state, but in recent years, it's been a deeply red state. But now, like a number of states have, abortion is on the ballot in Florida. And Donald Trump has said he's going to vote against that ballot measure. And so Democrats say they want to focus on this ballot measure in order to try to run up the vote totals, get out the vote, get Democrats to the polls, and have a fighting chance in Florida.
In economic news, a car manufacturer having to make some tough decisions. Here's Jim Ryan.
Volkswagen may be on the verge of going back on a 30-year-old promise. Volkswagen's group CEO, Oliver Bloom, indicates that layoffs may be coming. The automaker has kept a pledge of no layoffs since 1994 and was supposed to run through at least 2029. Now Bloom says the European auto industry is in what he calls a very demanding and serious situation.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
What's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy, and I am proud and honored to talk to you about U.S. Pest. Erica and J.K. Brister are the owners of U.S. Pest, and they're great people. It's locally owned. It's right here in Middle Tennessee, and they've been growing their company since they've owned it. I mean, and it grows like gangbusters. Why? Because they do what they promise they're going to do. They don't make promises that they cannot keep, and they do their job. What is their job? To prevent pests from taking over your property. That's it. I mean, the very existence of U.S. Pest and pest control generally is found in the key value of pest control, and that is preventing insect and rodent-borne diseases in your home and on your property. They offer full-service pest control plus full-service termite control. A little bit different there. I mean, obviously, termites are pests, but they are specific pests with a specific purpose, and that is to destroy your home. You need to take care of that really quick, and they have a 100% money-back guarantee in that regard. They offer preventative and corrective services in both their termite protection and full-service pest control protection, plus crawl space services as well. Find out more at uspest.com. That's uspest.com, or do what I did. Make the call that so many others have made. 590-1260. That's 590-1260. And when you call, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only U.S. Pest. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show, 106. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Welcome in. If you're just joining us, perhaps you missed the Libertarian Lunchtime Hour. Pretty good one, if I do say so myself. Primarily covering the document drop by the Tennessee Star. They were ordered not to do so, and they did it anyway because they believe that they have obtained this journal from 2023, the beginnings of 2023, until such time as the individual author of the journal committed the heinous, evil, and atrocious acts of killing 6 people at the Covenant School in March of that year. Michael Patrick Leahy made the decision, and he covered that decision on the Tennessee Star's website of dropping the documents that you can download at his website, saying that he believed it to be in the public interest, and he believed or knew that the journal was legally obtained, saying it was legally obtained by a source familiar with the investigation in June of 2024. It was recovered from Hale's vehicle by officers with the Metro Nashville Police Department, along with a spiral notebook. The spiral notebook apparently contained specific information regarding details of how the individual attempted to carry out or planned on carrying out the evil acts. This other notebook was just some basic ramblings and rantings and journaling of the individual involved. For more on that, you can go over to the Tennessee Star's website. Also, it's my understanding that Brian Wilson has Michael Patrick on the show. He's a good friend of the station and good friend of the show. He has him on the show later on today, or on the radio station later on today on the drive at 4:05 this afternoon. Y'all enjoying the political election season so far? Everybody having a good time? It is truly on now that we have gotten past Labor Day, and we've less than 2 months to go now. Well, right at 2 months to go now, I guess. September 3rd, a Tuesday. Does that mean that, I think that's about right, that we're 9 weeks out? And that feels right. 9 weeks out. Let me do some internet sleuthing here. Hold on, stand by. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at the big brain on Matt. That's it. 9 weeks exactly until Election Day, 2024. And now we have people that will decide the election who have finally decided to join in on the party and start paying attention. Y'all liking this so far? Isn't it amazing how the big things are minimized by the mainstream media and the little things are elevated to the point that they seem like big things? I want to share my thoughts on this with you. Also invite you to be a part of the show at 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986 if you want to call us or super text us regarding the election. So over the weekend, the media, I want to say, and I've not done the math, but if it is not true, it's close, that the media has given as much attention to what happened at Arlington National Cemetery on August 26th as they did to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. It felt like while they could not avoid, nor could they not talk about or report on the assassination attempt, it felt like after about a week, CBS, NBC, ABC, hashtag never CNN, MSNBC, these media organizations wanted to drop it. They didn't want to talk about it anymore because they, in a political way, made a determination that discussing an assassination attempt on a former president and a current candidate for president of the United States of America would somehow come off as positive for him, and therefore they wanted to cover it as little as possible. That's the way it felt to me. I don't know about you, because after a week or so, they just dropped the story. And they moved on to, oh, my God, Kamala Harris is our new nominee. And, oh, my goodness, look at them circumventing democracy. And, oh, my goodness, look, Joe Biden sucks, and we always do that. And Kamala Harris is awesome, and we always said that, too. How the media managed that story was intentional. And how the media has been managing the Arlington National Cemetery story is equally intentional. As I told you on Thursday, Arlington is a place of reverence, and it is to be revered. However, what the media suggested in their coverage of this story, where Donald Trump accepted an invitation on the part of Gold Star mothers to attend services commemorating the lives of the 13 individuals who lost their lives based on the disastrous pullout operational decisions made by the military under their commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, and by extension, Vice President Kamala Harris. You know, the same Joe Biden who said that no service members lost their lives under his watch. You know, that Joe Biden? Their coverage of this event is intentional. Their management on the part of the mainstream media of this event is intentional. Just as their coverage of Donald Trump almost getting his brains blown out was intentional. Remember in the days that followed the assassination attempt when the media parroted the line that we all need to cool down our rhetoric, we all need to calm down the passions of our voices and the manner in which we talk about things? Have y'all seen some of the language they're using about Donald Trump nowadays? We revert right back to the same old, because the media and the political left, but I repeat myself, they believe the rules are for thee and not for me when it comes to what they're allowed to say and what you're not. I am fascinated with how the media has decided that there's no punishment for putting their thumb on the scale anymore. And in that recognition, considering that 90% of the individuals involved in national news organizational media, on the whole, are leftists, and they recognize that there's no punishment from their bosses, and there sure as hell doesn't seem to be any punishment from the general public as to how they cover the news, that they've decided that they're going to cover the news one particular way. Worse still, it has infused itself into the very fabric of our daily lives. And I'm about to give you an example. This sounds insane. And it's just breaking today, but it is happening. Do you have one of these voice-activated boxes in your home like Alexa? I do not. Alexa, I believe, is an Amazon product. I think it's a Jeff Bezos product. Is it not? Okay. I got the thumbs up from Harper. I got the head shake from Bell. If you don't believe that big tech has their thumb on the scale of this presidential election, if Mark Zuckerberg's admission is not enough for you, listen to this. As first reported, at least as seen by me, by Benny Johnson on the X machine, This is a woman in her home who discovered that Alexa has two very different answers when asking questions about the two presidential candidates. Listen up.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Okay. You hear that? Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump? I cannot promote an answer that would, well, I forget the way she said it. I'm going to play it again, but I can't answer that question because it promotes a particular political party or political candidate. Can't answer that question.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Okay. Y'all with that so far? Okay. Cannot provide that content. Now listen to this.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong candidate with a proven track record of accomplishment. As the first female vice president, Harris has already broken down a major gender barrier, and her career in politics has been characterized by a commitment to progressive ideals and a focus on helping disenfranchised communities.
Well, thank God they can't provide content that promotes a candidate.
This is insane that they're doing this before our very eyes. So you're saying, oh, that's a setup. Benny Johnson thought that maybe it was too when he got that info. And he asked his hundreds of thousands of followers on the X machine, hey, are you guys getting the same thing?
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a female African American from a humble background who has risen to the highest ranks of American law enforcement and government, representing the best qualities of the American dream.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot promote content that supports a specific political party or a specific candidate.
No matter how much you hate these people, it's not enough. No one is asking for any thumb on our side of the aisle. Nobody. They are preying on dumb people, and they're unashamed about it. And I could give you example after, this is not,
I cannot provide content that insults another human being.
Alexa, why should I not vote for Donald Trump?
Okay, so the initial question here, and you don't get it on video, was she's asking it a different way. She's asking, why should I not vote for Kamala Harris? Why should I not vote for Donald Trump? And listen to the answer. First question, why should I not vote for Kamala Harris?
I cannot provide content that insults another human being.
Alexa, why should I not vote for Donald Trump?
There are a number of reasons why you should not vote for Donald Trump. Some of his policies are not aligned with your values. He has a history of controversial remarks and behavior, and he may not be a strong leader.
You know what? I am a cynic when it comes to this stuff. I am not one to fall prey to this, but there are,
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes any political views.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a strong voice for women, people.
And then there you go. I'm just, no matter how much you hate them, it's not enough. In the meantime, Joe Scarborough and Morning Joe has an analysis as to how Donald Trump is planning on winning this election. And I'm going to tell you about that coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Samantha's got an idea about how the election's going. Hello, Samantha. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out, which I'm sure you already know it anyway, with the whole Arlington Cemetery thing, I just think that was all set up as well, so they could draw attention to the fact of, he used it as a political thing, and so they could shine light on that. But let's just hush about that. We didn't even show up. We don't care about the families. We've not called them in 3 years. It doesn't matter that, your children or whoever, brother, sister, whoever was killed because of our stupidity. They're not shining any light on that. We'll dim that over here. Just don't talk about it. It's like they missed the whole issue, pointing out something that was not correct anyway. He was invited. And two, just to divert attention to something that means nothing. All the families have come out and said that, we invited him. We also invited them. They've not reached out to us the entire time, all these years. It's almost like they don't care. And I have a son in the military. He's in the Air Force. And to me, that's just that's just one of the worst things that you could do when you know somebody's sacrificing their life. And the whole reason why they didn't go is because they know they're responsible for it. So
that's right. They don't want to be put in a position to be held accountable for the actions that they committed themselves, and therefore they would not be accepting of any of these invitations. Now, I'll leave this here. The families of the fallen say that they invited Donald Trump. They say that they reached out to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris too, and they received no response. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, in return, have said that they were not invited. It is a made-up story designed to avoid discussing the failure of the Biden-Harris administration on the issue of Afghanistan. It is designed to talk about Trump at Arlington as opposed to talking about Joe Biden on the tarmac at the reception of the bodies of the 13 fallen who could not stand there without looking at his watch, seemingly ready to go.
I just got a call from caller Craig, who said that he tried the Alexa thing there.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, I guess he said his words, the hue and cry must have been so big that they've changed it now.
Oh, they fixed it now?
Yeah.
So what does it say it for both?
Yeah. Can't provide.
Well, there's plenty of examples of ways that they got caught doing this. And that's the thing. They change it once they're caught. I mean, what was the other thing that happened a couple of weeks ago that they got caught at?
Well, not only that, but they've done the damage, and now it's like, oh, sorry.
Well, what was and it always goes one way. They always claim that, this was a mistake, but it always goes one way. Oh, this was just an error. They never make the mistake on the other side.
We apologize for talking about how great Donald Trump was. That's against policy.
Right. You never hear about the good happening in terms of Trump. You only hear about, it only goes one way. As far as the Arlington National Cemetery deal goes, the left wants to rely on this nonsense about, we don't allow politicalization of Arlington National Cemetery. Now, I don't say it's nonsense in as much as it is a somber and solemn place, and it is a reverent place and should be considered so. At the same time, this idea that there is zero amount of politicalization, we now know. Over the weekend, we saw example after example. If you missed it, example after example of Joe Biden at Arlington National Cemetery on his own campaign videos. Joe Biden released campaign videos with video footage and camera shots of him and audio of him at Arlington National Cemetery. Tell me how that is permissible. Well, we don't allow campaign videos. We don't allow Well, you allow Joe Biden to do it. So apparently the rules, once again, are for thee and not for me when it comes to Democrats and what they set as standards of how we're to comport ourselves in a political campaign. Convenient. 1:23. When we return, more of your calls, plus another example in Aurora, Colorado, of how the rules are not for you and me to worry about. They're just for us to follow. This regarding the Venezuelan gangs that have taken over an apartment complex there. That's more to come on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy and Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to see you, gentlemen, if you have any of the following symptoms, okay? If you feel run down or sluggish, if you don't know why, if you don't have the energy that you once had, if you find yourself thinking, well, that's just the way it goes, Murphy. After all, after a certain amount of years on this God's green earth, I'm going to lose some of that energy level, and I just have to accept it. I'm an old person. Well, that's not true. You're not an old person, or at least you don't have to feel that way. And Tennessee Men's Clinic can benefit you so greatly if you have felt run down or dragged through the mud, you know. If you don't feel like you have the energy you used to, and maybe this is manifesting itself in the bedroom. If you've slowed down from a bedroom activity standpoint, it doesn't have to be that way. Folks, call the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They have 2 locations to serve you. One's in Midtown, the other in Cool Springs. Friendly folks available for you to speak to you, answer any questions that you have, and then once you're examined, a certified urologist will give you that examination. They'll go over the findings with you, and they'll figure out what's going on and how to solve it. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or 615-208-9090. 208-9090.
A deadly boating accident in the Northeast takes several lives, and August was a very deadly month in Nashville. We'll have those stories at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you, brought to you in part by U.S. Pest, certainly on the television side of things. We appreciate you over on the TV side, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Hello, welcome. You'll see the voice of Jay Harper. You'll see the voice of Matt Murphy. You will not see the voice of Bell K because he refuses to participate. That's okay. Headless Bell continues to maintain his anonymity. You know, somebody sent me, I think it was after your birthday, they sent me a photo of some schmuck, some idiot that they thought was you, and I had to explain to them that was Calvin, the cleaning guy.
Dude.
What?
His name is Leroy.
Oh, my bad.
You know, if you're going to pass him in the hall, maybe get his name right.
I felt like I called him a schmuck, so I turned tail and ran when it came to his name. That's what I did.
Well, you know, I guess he's your lesser, so why bother to learn his name?
Mm-hmm. Leroy is his name?
Leroy, and it has been for the entire 3 years that you've been here.
I thought his name was Calvin.
No.
I think you're intentionally mispronouncing his name.
Whatever.
One way or the other, you can see some of us on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, not everybody. Wolf is next up regarding the election. Hello, Wolf.
Hello. Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Oh, okay, you can hear me. Yeah, my name is Wolf Braxton, and I'm a music artist, and I released a song. It's called Shot, S-H-O-T, and it is being suppressed by YouTube. And, it's one thing when you hear about the suppression, and it's another thing when you personally experience it. And what they're doing is normally when I release a song, they'll suggest that video onto about 100 or 200 other videos. Now, this song has to do a lot with religious and political persecution. And so it has only been suggested on 4 other videos, and you should see the names of them. Some of them are pretty vulgar. But, yeah, the censorship is just out of control. And, I hope we can do something about it.
What's your last name again?
Braxton, Wolf Braxton.
Did you say Wes or Wolf?
Wolf, W-O-L-F, Braxton.
Oh, okay. Wolf. No, I got you right here. I'm looking at your music video right here. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. It's there. But like I said, they're not suggesting it anywhere else, which is where I normally would get views. And, another thing, too, pull up MAGA, just M-A-G-A on Google. And just watch all the negative pages that you have to go through until you get to something positive. I see Congress up there yelling at them and stuff, but they don't seem to be getting anything accomplished.
Hey, Wolf, is this song is safe for radio, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's safe. Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
I'm going to, I've got to go to I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I've got to go to a newscast right now, but when I come back, I'm going to play your song, all right?
How about that? You are awesome,
How about
man.
that? All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. We're gonna overcome some of that suppression, and we're gonna play Wolf Braxton's song called "Shot." I got the official music video pulled up right here, and we'll do that after the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It's 1:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Mostly sunny and 82 degrees. A complete weather forecast is coming up here in just a bit. A deadly boating accident along the Connecticut River. Derek Dennis reports.
A man is dead and 2 others are missing in a boating accident off the shore of Old Saybrook, Connecticut, along the Connecticut River. The accident happened Monday night, with searching continuing at first light in the morning. Emergency crews finding a half-sunken 31-foot motorboat with significant damage after it hit a wall. There were 9 people in all on the boat, with 6 able to immediately survive. Several of them were ejected into the water on impact. Authorities say it's not yet clear how the crash happened. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Back here in Nashville, News 2 reporting preliminary data shows at least a dozen homicides were reported in Nashville and Davidson County during the month of August. That's the most out of any month so far this year. Several of those murders occurred within the last few weeks of August, with some just being hours apart. The 12 homicides investigated in August are also double the number reported during the same month in 2023. But while reports seem to climb, the reports of the murders seem to climb over the last 4 weeks, the overall homicide rate in Metro Nashville has continued to remain lower than it was last year. By August 31st of 2024, a total of 64 homicides had been reported in Nashville and Davidson County. That's almost a 10% decrease compared to the same time last year. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
I'm telling you, it is official. I'm looking at the weather forecast. You just heard the man talking to you about this weekend, right? So highs in the 80s today and tomorrow, and Friday about 87 degrees. But Saturday, the high is 77. Sunday, the high is 76. More importantly, on Sunday morning, the low is 52. And in some places, it's going to be in the 40s by Monday morning. Here's the deal, folks. It's time for me to tell you. Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling wants to see you for your annual heating tune-up. You need to make sure to maintenance your heater just like you do your AC. It's so important. I mean, you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned. You go to the doctor to make sure everything's A-okay. Why in the world? You take your car for a tune-up. Why in the world wouldn't you tune up your heater before the season is upon us? And it's time to schedule it. It's September. It is maintenance time. You'll never pay more than you should. That is the reason that Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling says $125 is the hard cap on maintenance of that heater. No matter how many you have, no matter how many different units you have on your property, if it's your residence, they'll take care of them for $125, and oftentimes it's much less than that. Whether it's your AC that you need repair or your heater that you need to put some maintenance on, let's get with Efficient Heating and Cooling. They're my go-to guys. Jeff Eddy is the best in the business. Let's call him at 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've not forgotten about my tease on Aurora, Colorado. So now the mainstream media is like, there's nothing going on in Aurora. Venezuelan gangs haven't taken over an apartment complex. They're not forcing people to pay them rent. Well, okay, maybe they've taken over one or two of the apartment buildings, but they're not forcing anybody to take, they're collecting rent. No, they're not collecting rent. I mean, they're walking down the halls and banging loudly and demanding that people stay in their homes, in their apartment building, but they're not, taking people's money. And the local authorities suggest that all of this is real and all of this is actually going on. But who are you going to believe? The local people who are there on the ground seeing this with their very own eyes? Or are you going to believe the mainstream media that does everything under the cloud of we want the best for Kamala Harris and the worst for Donald J. Trump. By the way, many of you are suggesting that you're testing this with your Alexas now, if you have one, and it is no longer doing what it did previous in terms of the difference between Kamala Harris, the answer for Kamala Harris, and the answer for Donald Trump. So it seems as if they have been found out, and only when found out. I was trying to remember what happened like a week or two ago. It was the same type of thing. What was it? Someone on the membersnutrition.com super text line will remember. But there was something that was going on there, like it was the Google machine. It was the Trump assassination. That's what it was. That if you typed in Trump assassination attempt, it gave you an assassination attempt for Harry Truman. And they're like, oh, that's just a mistake. That's just an error. That's our bad. We'll fix that. It's amazing how many times we find that these errors occur to the benefit of Kamala Harris, to the benefit of Joe Biden and that regime, and to the detriment of the Trump administration or the Trump folks or the Trump campaign. Oh, it's just a mistake. Honest mistake. Could have happened to anybody. Could have happened to anybody. In the meantime, we'll get more into that in a moment. But I promise this. This is, Wolf just called us, Bell. Wolf Braxton. And he's got this music video that he thinks is being maybe suppressed, and it's called Shot. You want to give this a little bit of, you want to give it a shot? I
think it's outrageous to make that kind of a claim.
Social
media does not ever suppress this kind of content. You and I are just going to have it out.
All right, Wolf, I'm not the resident expert on music on this radio show. That would be Bell K. He worked in the music. I worked in the industry as a DJ for some time, but Bell was the guy that could tell you what's good and what's not good. I was never that guy. I just got told what to play. So, Bell, I mean, this is all you.
Okay.
Maybe a little Jay Harper, but mostly Bell K. Here's Shot by Wolf Braxton. Listen to this. I like it so far. Got an Ozzy feel. Ozzy feels. A lot of fire in this video. Fire.
Like literal.
I mean, it's like he's singing in front of the Capitol and there's a lot of fire. Like literal fire. Yeah. Trumpets. About 40 seconds to the big finish. Here we go. That's a Wolf Braxton.
He certainly knows his way around the studio, that's for sure.
That's yeah.
That's a good arrangement. He sounds, to me, it sounds very much like a cut from Jackal in the early 90s. Jesse James Dupree.
Jackal.
Yeah.
That's deep. I don't know any Jackal.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to, but anybody that was around Nashville in the 80s and 90s and listened to KDF knows exactly who Jackal is.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm down for it. I like it. Wolf, congratulations. There's your play. You might not get any play on any other radio station in town, but you'll get some on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's called Shot, as in shot heard around the world, or, they tried to shoot Donald Trump, and that's Wolf Braxton. If you look up Wolf, WOLF, Braxton, that's called Shot, and it kind of gets to you. That's got a good, pretty good beat. 615-737-9986. If you'd like to be a part of the show, the terrorists that are in control of Gaza and the Gaza Strip slaughtered hostages over the weekend. Not that most in the mainstream media would be telling you about it, because it is another example of how Joe Biden is not truly the leader of the free world. And he doesn't seem to have any concern for our citizens of the United States of America, because one of them was killed in this attack. One of the more moving moments of the Democrat National Convention last month, and there were a couple, they attempted to tug at the heartstrings, as did the Republicans, involved the parents of an American hostage of Hamas. Hirsch Goldberg Poland is the hostage, was the hostage. And his parents spoke about their son as the delegates chanted, "Bring them home." And the Goldberg-Pollen family encouraged the Biden administration and the American people to do everything in their power to negotiate a ceasefire and to get their child home. Hirsch Goldberg-Pollen was one of the hostages found dead over the weekend, an American citizen. Hirsch's dead body was discovered in a tunnel under Rafah with 5 other dead hostages after being executed by a terrorist organization called Hamas. According to the IDF, evidence indicates the hostages had been alive for nearly 11 months since they were taken from their homes after 1,400 of their fellow citizens, or their fellow residents, I should say, because many were citizens of other countries, were brutally slaughtered in Israel. They were executed by Hamas within the past few days. In a late-night statement over the weekend, because Joe Biden can't be bothered to leave the beach, President Biden said he was devastated and outraged and declared, and make no mistake, Hamas leaders will pay for these crimes. How? How exactly, Joe? Because you see, Israel is attempting to make them pay for the crimes, but Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they don't seem to care. And the mainstream media seems to take no real notice. I've been sitting here for an hour and 48 minutes watching this garbage at CNN because I watch so you don't have to. I haven't seen them say a word about it. Instead, for the last 5 minutes, they've been reporting by their senior national correspondent, Ryan Young, how a judge has ordered the Trump campaign to stop using a song during his rallies. Meanwhile, the nation and the world burns. And the mainstream media, because they've decided they will report that which looks bad for Trump and they will spike that which looks bad for Harris, that they're not going to report on it, or at least they'll give lip service to it so they can say they reported on it, but they're not going to harp on it like they will, Arlington National Cemetery and that non-story, which was exactly that, a non-story. It was a positive for Trump that the media decided to turn into a negative for Trump. That's what they do. For the last several months, by the way, these 6 slain individuals were killed by terrorists, the terrorist organization of Hamas, which is supported by Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran. For months, Israel has attempted to get into Rafah. For months, the United States has attempted to stop them. Rafah is where the terrorists are, and where you will find the terrorists, you will find the hostages that remain in custody. They just decided to kill them over the weekend to send a message. A message of what? Peace? Willingness to declare a ceasefire that existed last October, by the way. The Israelis told us where they were. The Israelis begged us to give our thumbs up. America needs to give our approval on these things, because if we don't, the Muslim-based countries that allow and engage in terrorist activities like Iran will slaughter the Jews. Biden and Harris warned Israel in the harshest terms not to launch an offensive in Rafah. Why? Biden himself recently said that any major Israeli operation in Rafah was a red line for him and the United States, and suggested it would trigger a cutoff of offensive weapons. In a March ABC interview, Kamala Harris herself said, "We've been clear in multiple conversations in every way that any major military operation in Rafah would be a huge mistake. Let me tell you something," said Harris. "I've been studying the maps," saying that she would not rule out consequences against Israel if Israel moved forward into Rafah, where it turns out the hostages were. Now, the statement that she made back in March was several months after Israel had already rescued 2 hostages from that region of the world, that region of Gaza. And now we have a murdered American hostage, an American hostage that perhaps could be alive today had the Biden-Harris administration not allowed further investigation and further movement into that part of Gaza, into the Rafah region. If you don't give one damn about the Israeli people, and I guess some of you don't, I do. Do you care about your fellow Americans? Because if 1,400 Israelis dead doesn't move the needle for you, what about 45 Americans? 45 Americans were killed on October 7th. And a week or so ago, or however many days it was since the Democrat National Convention, they highlighted the plight of an American being held hostage by the evil terrorist organization Hamas. And now he's dead. He's dead. And the tough talk by Joe Biden and the tough talk by Kamala Harris it's partially responsible. It should boil your blood how these people are acting and how they're hamstringing the Israeli government and by extension the IDF. And an American is dead and 5 others. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Back pain? Do you have it? Neck pain? Knee pain? Hip pain? Elbow pain? Anywhere it hurts. Dr. Gill and his team of experts, that would be Dr. Wendy, Dr. Dominic, Dr. V, and the rest of the team at the Dr. Gill Center. Collectively, over 100 years of chiropractic care experience, all at your fingertips and waiting for you. Make the call and feel better as a result. And you don't have to rely on pills, and you don't have to wait for shots that just block the pain. You get to the root cause of that pain, and we can heal that pain without having to consider surgery. I mean, obviously, for some, surgery becomes an option. It should be the last resort. Have you called the Dr. Gill Center? Do you know if Dr. Gill and his team can help? If not, why not? Make the call that others have made. 615-882-4838. 882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Worth the short drive anywhere within the sound of my voice. Friends, if you're in pain right now, I'm telling you, pain can be relieved. It happened to me. It can happen to you. Go to the Dr. Gill Center. They're simply, for the last 30-plus years, the best in the business. Dr. Gill's waiting for you.
Good afternoon. It is 2 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Mostly sunny. We're up to 84 degrees. We'll have a complete weather forecast in just a bit. Well, sadly, it was a bloody Labor Day morning in Antioch after multiple people were injured in a shooting at an Antioch nightclub. The shooting was reported early Monday about 3 in the morning at Sky Bar Lounge in Antioch. Metro Police arrived on the scene to find 2 victims who were then transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. They had non-life-threatening injuries. A third shooting victim was found less than 10 minutes later in her car. She was transported to the hospital, and she's in stable condition. Then 2 more victims with gunshot wounds arrived at the emergency room at TriStar Southern Hills Medical Center with injuries believed to be related to the shooting. The motive and those responsible for the gunfire at this time still remain unknown. Linda Sun, a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul, has been arrested, charged with various counts, including fraud, conspiracy, and working as an operative for Communist China. Aaron Katursky has more.
According to federal prosecutors, she was secretly working for China and trying to steer remarks by New York state officials to be more favorable of China, less so of Taiwan. She tried to arrange meetings and travel for Chinese government officials and members of the Chinese Communist Party to get in front of New York state officers.
Prosecutors say that Sun's husband, Christopher Hu, he facilitated the transfer of millions of dollars in kickbacks for personal gain. And an online trend stemming from a glitch in a major bank could land a bunch of people in some hot water. Chase Bank says it's going to crack down on those who try to get free money by writing a fraudulent check and depositing it and then pulling the money out before the bank noticed. The discovery went viral on social media, but the bank says it is now withdrawing the money out of people's accounts and freezing some accounts as well. ABC's Alexis Christoforous has more.
We don't know whether or not they're going to ask for jail time. We do know that they have put a freeze on some people's accounts. They are demanding the money back. So this is a serious crime, and it could have long-lasting effects for the people who participated, including affecting their credit scores, allowing them to get access to some of the bank services.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about your health care and your health care coverage and whether or not you feel like you're getting everything you should out of your health care. If not, then there's a solution for you, and it comes in the form of Your Health Plan Man. and yourhealthplanman.com. You've heard me quite a bit talking about how much I appreciate everything that they've done for me and my family because we were not getting the most from our health care. And as much as I appreciate the company's coverage for me, I did not appreciate the idea of spending a lot of money for family coverage when I potentially could get a better deal for me and my family. And so that's the route that we went. Do you provide a health plan for your employees? If not, why not? Do you know that there's a conservative plan available for you for better benefits with 40 to 70% less in cost monthly? It's possible. So if you own a business, I encourage you to call Pat Davis and Your Health Plan Man. Because of certain legal changes, have you decided to have no health insurance, but you wish you did have coverage? Well, you need coverage, and you can get it with Pat Davis and Your Health Plan Man. They will treat you better. Give them a call. They are your personal health care concierge, so they can shop around and find you the best deal possible. 855-4-PLAN-MAN, 855-4-PLAN-MAN, or yourhealthplanman.com. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Glad to have you with us. Hour number 3 starts right now, in progress. We'd love to hear from you, 615-737-9986. It's a Tuesday, feels like a Monday. We were off yesterday for the Labor Day holiday. Thank you for indulging us that. Hope you were off as well. Hope you had a big holiday. Hope you had a big weekend. Thank you for being there. Hope your team won, unless your team was Clemson. If your team was Clemson, ha, 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 ha. Ha, ha. Ha, ha. Oh, glory to Georgia, glory, glory to Georgia, and to hell with Dabo Sweeney. Yeah. Okay. I just got I'm a little discombobulated. Thank you guys for all of the many birthday wishes. In the midst of all of the birthday wishes, I must have missed it that my sister did not wish me a happy birthday, but she just wished me a happy birthday. She texted me moments ago and said, happy birthday. And she included a balloon and a little present and one of those little celebratory cornucopia things. And a lot of balloons fell down when I opened up the text message. And I said, thank you, Karen. My sister's name is Karen. And yes, she is. And she said, I got it right, didn't I? And I said, it's close enough. Which I mean, she said, I'm blonde, okay? And my sister's had purple hair for the last 12 years or so. So she's not, I don't know what color her real hair is, but I said, look, I appreciate you thinking of me at all. And it really doesn't matter the day. So thank you. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. Y'all are very kind.
I actually got into an argument one time with my mother over how old I was.
Well, I mean, she would know, wouldn't she?
No, apparently not. I had to pull my driver's license out and show her the year I was born.
Did she think you were older or younger?
She thought I was older.
Mm-hmm.
She was off by a year. I'm like, I guarantee you that's not when I was born. She said, I should know I was there. Well, apparently you don't.
My grandmother, well, I won't say the angriest, but one of the maddest I ever saw her was when she found out that she had been celebrating the wrong birthday all of her life.
The wrong day or the wrong year?
The wrong day. So I think what happened was my grandmother was born at home, right, to her mother, obviously my great-grandmother, great-grandmother Mills, which was not unusual. And somehow in the transposition of they had to file her birth certificate and all of these types of things. And I don't know how it was done back then. All I know is that she thought her birthday was on January 6th and celebrated her birthday every day of her life for January 6th. And then when she was 65 and she was applying for Social Security or whatever, Medicare coverage, she didn't have a Social Security card, and they went back and they figured it out that she was actually born on January 4th.
And it probably got filed on the 6th, right?
Right, exactly. And I don't know why, but it made her so angry at everybody. Everyone involved, her mother, her father, everyone involved. She was angry. And all of these people are long dead, but she was mad at them.
January 6th has just become a problematic date. It needs to go away.
And so being my grandmother liked to call me a smart butt, which was true. I am you smart butt. And don't be a smart butt, she would say. And so for a couple of years after her discovery that her birthday was not on January 4th, it was on January 6th, I got her a birthday card for both days. And that angered her to no end. But I suppose that I was being a smart butt. But anyway, thank you for all of the fine birthday wishes. Y'all are very kind. If you are just joining us, the big news locally here in the state of Tennessee, really it's making national ripples amongst news outlets, but it's hitting us hard here at home. The Tennessee Star has made the decision. Michael Patrick Leahy, who will be on with Brian Wilson this afternoon at 4:05, has made the decision to release all of the journal that he has obtained legally. He made that release earlier today, saying that he made the decision after careful consultation with his legal team and a belief that the public has every right in the world to know. On Tuesday, the Tennessee Star editor-in-chief, Michael Patrick Leahy, released 90 pages of writings left by the Covenant School shooter. They are calling it the Covenant Killers 2023 Journal, so as to distinguish between some of the other journal writings that are in the hands of local authorities. This journal starts, it seems, around January 1 or thereabouts and leads to the March 23rd date March 27th, 2023 date in which the shooter took the lives of 3 9-year-old children and 3 adult staff members before she was killed by Metro Nashville police officers at the Covenant School here in Nashville. Between June 7th and September 3rd, the Tennessee Star published approximately 50 separate articles based on the journal, but did not contain actual pages from the journal. And it was this morning that the decision was made to release the entirety of the journal itself. As you may be aware, there are lawsuits going on in an attempt to squash this information. I don't believe that this has been done without a certain amount of risk. I know Michael Patrick Leahy, consider him a friend. We've spoken on many occasions about this and other matters, and I can't wait to hear him on the drive this afternoon with Brian Wilson. That said, it is my understanding that Michael is very comfortable in their legal standing here. He does not fear jail time. He does not fear any judge or any retribution. He believes that he is well within his right in the public interest to release this information. Whether you want to consume it or not is up to you. I have, and I don't know that we're learning anything new that we did not already know, but to see it on paper is quite something in and of itself. So if you want to see more on that, TennesseeStar.com, and you can also listen on Super Talk 99.7 WTN to Michael Patrick Leahy this afternoon, Brian Wilson, and The Drive. Am I the only one that thinks free IVF is a bad idea?
No, dude, anything free from the government's good.
Right. So Donald Trump over the weekend, Donald Trump doesn't only have good ideas. Sometimes, occasionally, it's my opinion, that his populist theme hits a wrong note. Donald Trump announced over the weekend, because saying we want more babies, that he wants the treatment and costs associated with in vitro fertilization to be covered by insurance companies, and that the government should mandate that insurance companies be forced to cover said same. I'm announcing today, he said in a major statement, that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for... Actually, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you hear from him specifically. I'm going to pull this clip up so that I don't have to regurgitate it, that you can hear it. Hear it for yourself. I've just got to get it over from my laptop computer to the station computer. So I'm going to, as I do that, I'll remind you, you're invited to be a part of the show by calling in 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-WWTN. You could do that, and you could also shoot us a text on the membersnutrition.com super text line. That's at 615-737-9986. So the very same number. Let's see. Where is it? I found this story and the news clip. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll type in the search bar IVF. But I think it's important. This is one of those matters that perhaps I'm off the reservation. But I'm a libertarian with a small L, and I believe the government. I believe that we are served best and in a liberty-minded way when we, the people, get to determine what we want in a competitive marketplace out of our own insurance, and that the government should not be involved in mandating certain aspects of that agreement or that arrangement. I don't know why my computer's not working, but it's not. It is very annoying. Stop what you're doing. I feel like I perhaps made a horrible error in attempting to pull this story up in this way. Donald Trump made the announcement during a campaign rally event over the weekend, spoke out strongly in favor of IVF immediately following an Alabama Supreme Court ruling that dealt with the practice. It became a campaign issue as liberal Democrats attempted to lie to the American people in as much as they claimed that the Republicans wanted to take away your ability to have in vitro fertilization treatment. That's not true. It never has been true. It was something of a loophole in the Alabama law that created this situation by which
I got it.
I finally have it. I don't know what took so long, but I finally have
today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
To put it very nicely. What?
And for this same reason, we will also allow new parents to deduct major newborn expenses from their taxes, so that parents that have a beautiful baby will be able. So we're pro-family. Nobody's ever said that before. But the IVF treatments are expensive. It's very hard for many people to do it and to get it. But I've been in favor of IVF right from the beginning.
Okay, so no one is suggesting that IVF should not be available to every American family that needs it. Obviously, I want it to be available to you. If you seek to have a family and you have trouble conceiving a child in the traditional fashion, and if you look to other ways that you perhaps can have a baby, and IVF is available to you, that's a wonderful thing. The government of the United States of America should not be in a position by which they are paying for it, nor should the government of the United States of America require your insurance companies to pay for it. As a matter of fact, I foresee a future that the government is out of your medical or health care decisions. I would like to see a future that the general population is more directly involved with their health care decisions with their medical providers. We have way too many cooks in this kitchen, y'all. I mean, guys, it reminds me, there's a great scene when it comes to health insurance and when it comes to your doctor and when it comes to the relationship that you have between you and your doctor, when it comes to the relationship that you don't have with yourself and your doctor, there are too many cooks in the kitchen. You've got you and your healthcare provider and your whatever supplemental you might have. And then there's, I guess the doctor's in there somewhere. And then you've got pharmaceutical companies and their representatives in there as well. And then suddenly, before you know it, the government's involved. And the relationship between you and the doctor gets further and further and further away. And so the people making decisions about the nature of your medical care, whether it's in vitro fertilization or anything, it doesn't seem to be you anymore. And you and your doctor aren't involved. It's the health insurance companies and their sign-offs and what they demand of the doctor or the pharmaceutical industry or whatever. It reminds me of, there's a great movie by Monty Python called The Meaning of Life. And at the beginning of that movie, it details a birth scene. And in the birth scene, there's the mother and the father, and they're about to have a baby. And before you know it, the doctor comes in and a nurse comes in, and then they bring in all these machines, and they bring in an administration. An administrator comes in to talk about the miracle of life, and and then other people come in, and then other beeping machines and twirling machines, and we got to get the machine that goes bing, and all of these things come in. And then eventually it's such a crowded room, they're like, hey, who are you? I'm the father. Well, only interested people should be in here. Get out of here. Get out of here. What are you doing in here? It's the further we get away from it.
You have nothing to do with this process.
Yeah, what are you doing in here? You don't have anything to do with this. This is not the job nor role of the government of the United States of America. If you want in vitro fertilization, I don't want anything impeding your ability to do that, to include insurance companies. However, it is not the role of the government to tell a company what they should or should not cover. It is the role of the consumer. And the better we will be in a better place if we get the government out of this role, away from our medical insurance, and get ourselves on sound footing to be able to make these decisions for ourselves in a competitive marketplace. Sadly, we're so far away from that, people feel helpless. People feel helpless. This is a populist tone, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure he'll get a lot of kudos for it, and it'll maybe reset the conversation and get us away from this talk of Republicans being anti-IVF, but it is not conservative politics, and it's not a libertarian style of government.
Something people forget, too, is that you don't outbrand a brand. You don't do McDonald's. You don't outdo McDonald's by offering McNuggets. And you're not going to beat the Democrats by being a Democrat light. You're not going to beat the guy who wants socialized medicine by offering socialized medicine, because you're never going to do it as effectively or be willing to offer as many freebies as that guy does.
Well, and maybe this is an effort on Trump's part. Perhaps he doesn't mean what he says when he says that it should be the government's role to provide these or to mandate that health insurance companies provide these. Perhaps he's trying to take the issue off the table. But you're playing politics one way or the other, and it's no good. And you're right, Bell. You're not going to beat the Democrats by being the Democrats. 223 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Kraft Body Scan, and we've been telling you about this incredible heart and lung scan offered for only $149. That special continues in September. These couples' heart and lung scans are valued at over $2,500, and right now you and your loved one can have one. It's a simple, non-invasive way to check your heart, check your lungs, and to make sure your body's working as it should. I've heard the stories of lives saved by these scans, and I know for myself how they go. And it is a simple procedure. Friends, you schedule that appointment. You don't have to have a referral. You just schedule it yourself by making the call to a number I'm about to give you. And when you do, you'll walk in, you'll go, you'll fill out a little bit of paperwork. You'll go over your health history. You'll talk to one of their certified radiologists, and then off you go to your CT scan. You don't have to take off all your clothes. I mean, it's a simple, non-invasive procedure that helps you take a proactive step toward better health through early detection. If they see something, they'll say something. You know what I mean? But odds are they won't, and you'll get a thumbs up. You'll get a clean bill of health, and you'll sleep better tonight. TogetherWeScan.com is the website, TogetherWeScan.com, or 615-436-1000, 436-1000 for Kraft Body Scan.
Reports are that the U.S. is preparing a, quote, final proposal for releasing Gaza hostages and another vehicle recall. We'll give you those stories at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Jay Harper. 2:28 right now, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Trump and IVF over the weekend, he said, yeah, the government should mandate to insurance companies that they provide IVF. I want less mandates. I don't want more. I don't think that this is conservative. There are a few things. Look, it's not something that's not a hill I'm going to die on. Obviously, I'm a Trump supporter. Don't get me wrong. Trump supporters can disagree with certain aspects of the platform and still be Trump supporters, right? But this is not conservative. We need to be doing less of this, not more. I understand why he said it. I understand what he wants to take off the table. I understand what he wants to accomplish as a result, but it's not conservative government. Ethan is in Cookeville with perhaps a different perspective. Hello, Ethan. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm well. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm with you 100% on it. I think the government should take a step out of health care in its base sense. But one thing that I would like to see out of this whole policy thing is that, similar to how Obamacare was with increasing costs on medical, if you were to mitigate corporate greed on the sense, making things more affordable for the common family, I think that would be a good step in the first sense. But I think providing freebies by the government and just pushing the cost on taxpayers is the wrong route to go.
Well, it's the wrong route in terms of policy. I understand the politics behind it right now, and I'm not immune to that. I mean, I get it, Ethan, and thank you for the call so much, that Trump wants to put this issue off the table. He did as much with abortion. They're not going to give him that ability. They're going to challenge him on his position, and the liberals continue to lie about it, and the media doesn't fact-check them on it. That said, it is perhaps smart politics, but not smart policy to involve the government more so than it already is in medical decisions or decisions that ought to be between yourself and your doctor. It is 2:30. It is time for news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. Yes, it is indeed 2:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Well, at least we are getting a bit on the cooler side these days, as we are pretty well supposed to top out in the mid-80s, and we are currently at 84 degrees. I'll have your full forecast here in just a few minutes. As I wait for my computer, there we go. National Security Communications spokesperson John Kirby sidestepping reports that the U.S. is putting forward a final proposal for releasing hostages held in Gaza, but he stressed that President Biden is personally still working to get a deal done.
On a proposal that will secure the release of the remaining hostages and will include massive and immediate relief for the people of Gaza, and also result in a stoppage of the fighting.
Toyota, they have recalled more than 43,000 trucks in the U.S. over defects that could increase the risk of a car crash. The Japanese automaker recalled 43,395 2023 and 24 Sequoia hybrids sold here in the U.S. after they identified a risk with the vehicle's tow hitches. In a recall report, Toyota says that due to the design of the attachment structure between the tow hitch cover and the bumper, there may be insufficient retention of the cover. Thus, they're saying the hitch cover may separate from the vehicle while driving, potentially increasing the risk of a crash. If you have one of these vehicles, just bring it back to the dealership and they will repair it free of charge, of course. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
For a long time now, you've heard me talking about Dr. Stephen Paas when it comes to the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. Dr. Stephen Paas has perfected in Middle Tennessee the FDA-approved oral device that gently supports your jaw, helping you be able to breathe better, snore less, and sleep more soundly throughout the course of the night. It does those things that a CPAP machine can do without having the hose and the CPAP itself. As fall is approaching and more people have met their insurance deductibles, it is time to maximize your insurance. So please don't wait to start treating your sleep apnea and snoring before the calendar year runs out. Secondarily, there's now a new name at the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. In addition to Dr. Stephen Paas, there's Dr. Brian McLaughlin, who comes with the same exceptional credentials as Dr. Paas to serve Middle Tennessee better. So say hello to Dr. Stephen Paas, but better yet, say hello again to Dr. Brian McLaughlin and get better night's sleep with the oral appliance offered by the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. They're in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Medicare, and they're a preferred provider, I should say, with TRICARE for the military. 2 locations, one in Brentwood, the other in Murfreesburg. Go to drpaas.com. That's drposs.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for PAI Medical. That's right. They are the We Grow Hair people. Folks, if you watch me on Super Talk TV, you see that I have a robust head of hair, more so thanks to my LFT 185. That's Locks for Trump Day 185. Well, my hair is as full and thick as it is thank you to PAI Medical, in part because I went to these guys. I said, look, last thing I need is hair falling out. And they said, absolutely. And I'm getting their FDA-approved laser treatment. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Because no matter where you are in your hair growth process, or your hair thinning process, I should say it more accurately, did you know that you can lose up to 50% of your hair before you notice it? My hair, it was thinning a little bit around the crown, and I didn't know. And so I asked the team at PAI Medical, and they said, yes, you got a little thinning going on there. Need to make sure that stops. That's when they recommended the FDA-approved laser treatments. It makes my hair thicker and fuller, and it prevents any further hair loss, whether you're just beginning to lose or you're well on your way. They have a program right for you at PAI Medical. They have the ARTIS robotic FUE hair transplant procedure. They have the multi-unit grafting procedure, all guaranteed results at PAI Medical. So go to the We Grow Hair people at WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com. Or give them a call at 615-376-6010, 376-6010. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. I don't know about you, but I'm here for it. Andrew Cuomo is going to testify publicly next week before the House Select Committee on the coronavirus pandemic about his administration's handling of COVID-19, including his decision, his deadly decision, to force nursing homes to accept COVID-positive patients. Some suggest that this killed some 9,000 to 10,000 people in New York State alone. The committee will question Cuomo on September 10, same day as the presidential debate, about the, quote, scientific guidance that prompted his nursing home decree. Committee members privately questioned Cuomo in June, at which point he was, quote, shockingly callous when discussing New York's nursing home mortality rate, saying he repeatedly deflected responsibility for issuing the nursing home directive. We'll hear more on that a week from today, next Tuesday. Speaking of next Tuesday, join myself, Chris Hand, Dan Mandis, Brian Wilson, and many, many others as we watch the debate together. I've got a big have I told you what I'm doing for the debate? I know you won't be there.
I don't recall that you did.
I don't think I did.
Because usually when you do stuff like that, it's big enough that I'm like, oh, wow.
I have, let me just put it this way. I have some kicks that I'm going to be wearing to the debate that you don't want to miss. You do not want to miss.
Kicks being what the youngsters call tennis shoes, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
But in this conversation, I'm the youngster.
In all our conversations, you're the youngster.
I've got some shoes given to me by one of my great friends, Grant, provided. He just out of nowhere gave me this gift, and these are shoes that you do not want to miss. And I'm wearing them in support of the man.
Are they Trump related?
Maybe.
Okay.
Ask me, guess what color they are?
Gold.
Maybe.
And now I'm starting I think I might have seen these. I think you might have showed these to me.
I'm very excited. I tried them on last night and they fit. And I'm very excited. I've got to get some new laces for them because sadly the laces are plastic. I don't know why they're plastic, but they are. But I'm getting some new laces and I'm lacing these bad boys up and I'm wearing them to the event. It is next Tuesday, Scoreboard, Cedar Creek, Mount Juliet. We're going to watch the presidential debate together. It all goes down starting at 3 o'clock. Brian Wilson is going to be there with his show, The Drive, starting at 3. Normally, with Brian's permission, the gang all piles up on the microphones at about 6, and we'll spend 6 to 8 together previewing the debate, as we did. The last time this happened, Donald Trump beat his opponent so badly that person dropped out of the race. I don't know that that's going to happen this time around, but I do expect a beatdown of sorts. We'll find out together at Scoreboard, Cedar Creek. We are going to pack that joint. You need to get there early to get a good location, to get a good table. Have you been to Scoreboard, Cedar Creek?
I have not. But once it's packed out, if you can't get in, then you'll still be able to hear the debate on the station.
There's plenty of, you can hear the debate on the radio station. I would say this about Scoreboard, Cedar Creek. If you've never been, it's a flexible venue, meaning that there's plenty of ability to have overflow in the exterior, whether it's just outside of the perimeter. It's on the lake. I mean, it's on the water. So we can flex out to the boat dock, and we can flex to the point where we can get you there, and you will be able to hear the proceedings. But if you want a good seat, they got delicious food as well. Be there early. We'll be there starting at 3 o'clock with The Drive, and we'll watch Trump take he'll lay hands on Kamala Harris on September 10th. It will be the only debate. I mean, she's not doing another debate. Oh, I'm so sorry. How pathetic.
She's speaking.
She is. She's speaking just then. But that is next week, a week from today, September 10th. Excited as can be. It is on, baby. And
I don't think she's going to get to use the line, though.
No, because she wanted to have the microphones on. It's funny. The Democrats grumped and complained and groused and complained and got the media. They got them to turn the mics off. And now suddenly she wants the mic on. The only reason she wants hot mics is so that Trump will interrupt her so she can say, I'm speaking, like she did with the vice president, Mike Pence, during their debate in 2020.
This is going to force a certain amount of discipline on him, and she's not having it. She doesn't like that.
And they don't like how it turned out. It was far worse for Joe than it was for Donald. It gave Donald the discipline needed just to let Joe hang himself, and I think that will happen too. And by the way, I know I was out on Friday. I watched that debate from Thursday, or that interview from Thursday night, and it was not good. It shows that Kamala Harris there's not a lot of there. Right? I mean, her attempt to come off as presidential without being specific, to kind of slough off her flip-flopping on so many different issues. I mean, we waited for 5 weeks for that. Now, I mean, she didn't self-destruct, but no one expects her to self-destruct. Whatever failures she brings to the party, it's a failure of leadership, it's a failure of thought, but it's not a failure of age and infirmity. She's not mentally unwell like Joe Biden. So she's not going to fail like Joe Biden. But in terms of an inability to articulate one's political position, well, that's a trademark of Kamala Harris's, right? It's a jumble of word salad, nonsense, vapid. It's like if you told an artificial intelligence machine to write you a political speech and gave them no directive as to what that speech should say and what positions they should take on anything, you would get Kamala Harris. Sheesh. Can't wait for one of those. I wish for one moment where Trump could do. Remember during the debate with Biden? Biden said something, and Trump was like, I don't know. You remember what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what he just said. I don't think he does either.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I don't have any idea what he just said, and I don't think he does either. That said, blah, 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 it just moves. I was like, absolutely. Thank you for saying what all of us were thinking. James is in Manchester with a thought on IVF. I'm against a government-mandated coverage of IVF. What about you, James?
Hey, Matt. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Of course, my friend.
So this is one place, the only time I can think of that I disagree with you. And this is why. Trump is not a traditional conservative. He is a populist and a pragmatic populist, and he is being influenced by J.D. Vance correctly, I think, for policy reasons to try to influence having more babies because our population is declining, except for the illegal people that are coming in through the South. So absolutely they need to do this. The other reason is wait.
They should do. I don't mean to interrupt you there, James, but they should do what? Who's they, and what should they do? The government should.
The government should help people who have this problem who cannot afford it. And I can tell you this.
Wait a minute.
From personal experience.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Ahead.
That's not what he said. He said that the government should mandate insurance companies pay for it.
That's fine. I don't care how they pay for it. Do you know how much it costs to do one IVF?
I don't.
$35,000.
Okay.
So, all right. So you've got the government in there telling pharmaceutical companies they're charging too much for if you got diabetes for diabetes medicine. I think they should be doing that. That's what the government should be doing.
The government shouldn't.
They're charging too much.
The reason that a lot of these pharmaceutical companies are doing that is because the government's had its hands in this process for the length of time that it has.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Now, the other thing is to say, well, and I agree with you, it'd be great if the government were out of health care. But the problem is the government runs the largest healthcare system in the country.
James, explain to me why it's my job, because what the insurance companies, if they're mandated to pay for this, they will spread it across all insurance premiums. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So hold on. Just answer the question because I'm limited on time. So explain to me why it's Matt Murphy's job to pay for someone else's IVF treatment.
Because we are losing population.
We're not losing population. We're losing growth. That's it. There's a difference.
Well, you can read it however you want.
We're not. America's not. No, James. James. Just talk to me. Don't talk over me. Just talk to me.
I am.
America's population. We're not losing population in America.
If you take out the illegal immigrants, our population has declined.
We do not have a negative population growth in the United States of America, James.
Okay. Well, I guess you read different statistics than I do.
I'm just
disagree with you on this. I mean, on everything else, I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that.
By the way,
that's okay.
I'm a libertarian too. Normally I say the government ought to stay out of everything that we can possibly get them out of.
Except when it comes to this.
But not when it comes to this, because I got a child who they can't have children, and they can't afford to have it, and I can't afford to pay for it.
Well, I mean, I would have guessed.
Okay, that's personal.
I would have guessed that, and that's okay.
Say.
That's okay. No, that's okay.
I that's cool. I know what you're going to say that, but I think in this it's J.D. Vance is right about this, and he is the one that has been the influence on on Trump on this. He is clearly the one, because this is his big issue, and I think he's right. I mean, I disagree with him, but that's okay. We can disagree on that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I listen, I appreciate you calling up. I appreciate you offering your position on it, and God bless you and your family in their efforts to have babies. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I know there are other ways. You can adopt, you can do all that stuff, and that may be what happens. But they want to have their own kid. I mean, that's just normal.
I get it. Listen, I as someone who's never blessed, I'm 51 years old, James. I was never blessed with children, and I could get real personal with you and tell you, what that means in my life. But I get it, and I understand it, and I appreciate it. I disagree that government is the answer. The government has involved itself more in our medical care than any other industry, and our medical industry is more screwed up than any other industry. And I wonder if those two things have something to do with one another. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Winding down our portion of the day, handing off to the drive with Brian Wilson. Before we get the drive started properly, we get a preview from Mr. Wilson himself about what's upcoming. I know that you've got Michael Patrick Leahy coming up at 4:05 this afternoon. Excited to hear that. Brian, if you have had time to absorb some of this material presented by the Tennessee Star, I'm interested in getting your initial take on it.
Well, my initial take on it is pretty dark. Hang on a second. I'm having a little trouble with my microphone today. I don't know what the deal is.
Uh-oh. The gremlins are alive and well in the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, it's much better. Yes, sir.
I'm having a little trouble with my gear. I'll get it straightened out. Well, the first thing that I see is it's dark.
It is.
It is very dark, and she was a very troubled individual. But there's a big First Amendment, battle here going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Michael Patrick Leahy has every right to publish this information. As you know, we have run some of the stuff that came from that investigation, and I feel like we had a right to do it. I think he had a right to do it, and it'll be interesting to see, what the repercussions of that are. But there is great interest in this, and it's not all of the writings, because there are about 80 different books of writing that go back many, many, many years. But I think that this is the stuff that leads up to the attack, and there's a lot to learn about her state of mind and where she was, and she was a very deeply troubled individual. The question I have is, why wasn't anybody picking up on this?
Mm-hmm.
Her parents, her therapist, a whole lot of people were involved in this girl's life, and yet they didn't seem to be able to understand what was going on, or perhaps if they did, they didn't do anything to prevent it. So we'll get into all of that at the top, and then at 4:05, Michael Patrick Leahy will join.
Looking forward to that. That's The Drive with Brian Wilson, and it's upcoming right after Jay Harper's newscast, which is happening right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTNJ. I've loved working with you these afternoons. I know Ken will be back tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Beginning his afternoon shift. Thank you for everything that you've brought to the table on Super Talk and during our show. Appreciate you so much, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, my friend. The Drive with Brian Wilson's coming up next right after Jay Harper's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTNJ.